Okay, good afternoon, good evening for you folks in North America. It's got 3 o'clock on the west coast of Canada. Where I am, I'm in Nanaimo. Blake's just down the island. We're on Vancouver Island, not to be confused with Vancouver proper, the big city over on the mainland. But, you never know what kind of business day it's going to be, a news day it's going to be. We got a bunch of stuff to do. I thought we'd go light today rather than go into some heavier stuff. And start off, have you heard about Greta Thunberg? Remember the little angel? She's out there saving the planet and everything with her little environmental ways. Well, now she's off on saying she is on the Santa Maria, waiting for a brave new world. Boom, boom. Okay, Sue. So can you throw out one of those things? Okay,
Yeah.
we got a couple of them. Oh, this one's my favorite. I threw in another one too. Get that other one too.
Yeah.
But this one here, we're in danger, folks. If you're of a praying nature, we are in dire straits. We are in danger. We need your help. Please send help. Greta Thunberg stuck on a boat under political attack. Potential attack from drones as they sail to free Gaza. It's about as believable as Katy Perry going into space. She can't even speak. Let's see what's going on, man. Let's go to the beginning. Make her bacon. Let's hear what's happening with little cute Greta.
We are reporting here from the Madeleine. We are right now at 80 kilometers from Greek lands and 68 kilometers from Greek territorial waters. What happened is that we just spotted a drone and we confirmed it is a drone, but we just lost visual with it. It could have either turned back or turned off the lights. We have our safety procedures here, and it demands us to go get all of our life jackets. We prepare to alert level at the maximum, especially if it's approaching us, and we sound the alarm for you. Now we count on all of you to share what's going on here and to please let the world know that we are 80 kilometers from Greece and we need your help. That's it. Please send this distress signal to everyone. We need your support right now. We are reporting.
All right, Greta Thunberg, 80 miles off the coast of Greece. It seems fantastic. Now, can you put that other link? Have you got that one for me, Scoozy? It's, what is that? I don't even know what I call it. It's Greta Fun. It's called Greta Fun. Did you get that one? All right, hang on. Here we go. The fun, the giggles that never ends. We'll do this, and we're going to get some thoughts from Blake on that. He's being exposed to this for the first time, shocked and stunned. Let's see what's happening here. Greta Thunberg's so-called freedom flotilla encapsulates the delusion and hypocrisy surrounding the Israel-Gaza war. This isn't a humanitarian mission. It's a Mediterranean leisure cruise. Participants are smiling, swimming, and filming TikTok videos. This is self-serving activism. And let's be honest, she wouldn't dare try this stunt anywhere near Hamas-controlled waters. She knows she's safe because Israel has Hamas on the ropes. That's what makes this spectacle possible. It's not activism, it's performance, and it's pathetic. And there they are with their Palestinian flag and just having a great old time swimming. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Just scenes of incredible. Oh, great. Happy Christmas. Okay, Blake, what's your take on the Greta Thunberg activism? This is like Live Aid all over again, Oh, the children. Oh, God.
Well, it's. Oh, by the way, my background is right in your backyard. This is the Nanaimo River, right in. I was there last Sunday. Took a nice picture of it. It's such a beautiful area.
Wow, very nice.
So if you ever get up to Rachel's neck of the woods and Sue's there, this is just behind them.
We're just in the river in a van.
The van's over there somewhere. Yeah, not a bad place to live in a van down by the river.
That's kind of scenic.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
What I find fascinating with this video is the humor in it. I mean, there's so much the irony, the fact that they're running a flotilla of boats to land in Gaza.
Yeah.
Led by the guy that was from Game of Thrones as Stannis Baratheon's hand, who got annihilated as he tried to invade King's Landing. So there he is, being a general on the boats again, and looking like morons, getting set up for the slaughter. And they all swim ashore like they're, in coming into the invaders. But the humor, the irony, Game of Thrones, he's there. He's leading Greta there like she is the queen of the dragons or something. I don't know. But it's so ridiculous. It's just a clown show.
Youthful. It's very youthful. She's very youthful looking. And she's so cute in her little frog hat.
It's like this crazy group of I want to be Instagram famous type people.
Wow.
This is a freaking war zone, people. This is a war zone. You've got Hamas who have hostages still in their hands there.
Now, hold on, Blake. It's not a war zone. They're 80 miles off the coast of Greece.
Greece, swimming ashore.
Yeah, I don't think the intensity is as pronounced in the Greece. So they're 80 miles offshore, and she's got a nice little smile. This isn't a terrified child, as you know. The elements bash them about, and danger. Will Robson. And like this other secondary post I put up, the guy goes, listen, the Israelis control this whole territory. They're safe as two beds in a bug where they are. And then the kids are out there swimming. They're having a great old time, taking selfies. Yeah, I'm in the med. You know, look at that piece of love. So anyway, James Farley, welcome to the show. We got, this is a longer show. We're just going to sit here. We got a number of items to work through, but we thought we'd start off with something a little lighter, the lighter side of the news, with Greta Thunberg going out.
Well, by the way, that's where your NGO money has gone to support groups that fund this kind of crap.
USAID kind of thing.
Yeah, you got it.
How about Mike Myers next to keep it fun?
Okay, this is kind of interesting, this story. Sue's got one, and Blake, you shared this as well. The whole thing is about Mike Myers, the actor. Now, of course, Mike Myers, famous from SCTV, the Austin Powers films, most notably. So I Married an Axe Murderer, great little comedy. I really like Mike Myers as a comedian, as an actor, but as a guy, I don't know if he's the nicest fella. But apparently this story is breaking. And apparently there's some truth to it. Allegedly, and we love that word on this program, alleged, Diddy victims set up a CIA tour for Mike Myers' court hearings. Diddy's attorney, Brian Steele, showed up during showed the jury the resume Mia presented before she was hired as Diddy's personal assistant. Mia said in the resume that she had previously, quote, handled all unique requests, unquote, for the comedy star. Well, she said she once set up a private and confidential tour of the CIA by corresponding with Secret Service agents and government officials. Mia told the court last week that she worked for Myers as well as Harvey Weinstein, God, what a peach he is, ex-wife Georgiana Chapman, before she was employed by Diddy. Secret identity. Getting out there, it's like...
$1 million.
So, can I say something here?
Yeah, go ahead.
What I love is how the media just goes, like, suspects immediately that, and all the people that want to, like, get at Diddy and all that, Mike Myers is, like, some sort of evil asset and elbows up on all this. And he probably just wanted a tour of the CIA.
Well, no,
and I think it points to Diddy.
Believe that?
Yeah, do we believe that?
Yeah.
I mean, who in their right mind, Blake, one of the your bucket list, you know, you're proud American. Golly, can I have a tour of the CIA operations room? I mean, who in their right mind even requests this kind of thing? No, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Well, he was Austin Powers, a spy.
International
The spy who shagged me.
of mystery. Yeah, I love that one. Spy who shagged me. I was just watching. Greta has been intercepted by the Israeli Defense Force. You can't make it up fun.
Well,
but
can I also say something else?
Go.
Say if you don't check on media headlines, the headlines were all like Mike Myers mentioned in Diddy trial. Yeah. So everybody thinks immediately, oh, what's he doing? He's at these freak off parties. He's doing this or that. There's no story behind it. It's just like Mike Myers mentioned at trial.
Yes.
And this is what it's all about, which could be actually a more interesting story than even Mike Myers being at.
Well, and I think it's because Diddy could just pick up a phone and go for a tour into the CIA. Shows what is his control And how much power did he have to be able to just have a guy on the inside say, hey, I've got Mike Myers. He wants to come in there. I need you to set up a tour through the CIA headquarters with them.
The CIA and all the intelligence agencies, for that matter, have come under incredible scrutiny over the last few years. Yeah. We're learning more about shenanigans and, the 51, agents that signed off, including, what was it, 4 former CIA heads. And so, we know these guys. John Brennan's one of them. I want to say Clancy, but it's
Tom Clancy.
Yeah, not John Clancy. But there's another one, that one, the little bald guy. They all look alike.
Brennan?
Yeah, John Brennan. But then there's also he was also a CNN. They all end up going to work for CNN after.
Yeah, like the Bolton, John Bolton, all those guys. Yeah,
I'll get the name, like CIA.
The usual suspects and neocon experts. Yeah.
What is he? An anchor? He's a columnist. But basically, they had a few.
Pompeo.
Pompeo, not so much Pompeo. He's looking great, by the way. I mean, he's dropped a lot of weight, so I empathize with that. But CNN, CIA, the former head, now a commentator. And I'll get his name. It's ridiculous. I can't remember this.
Well, it just shows the relationship historically that the CIA.
Clapper.
James Clapper.
Yeah. Clapper was one. But they've had a few other intelligence officials who have worked or are currently working for CNN include Robert Bayer, former CIA case officer, intelligence analyst, Jim Sciutto, a news anchor and chief national security correspondent at CNN, Ray McGovern, a former CIA analyst who co-founded Veteran Intelligence Professionals for Sanity.
Yeah.
Larry C. Johnson, former CIA analyst and co-founder of Veteran. But, James Clapper and John Brennan are also in amongst that number. 2 former heads, not just analysts within the agency. Yeah, but right at the very, pinnacle of the CIA. Pompeo's looking great. He's lost a lot of weight. And so I'm proud of him. I empathize with that. But so I think, Diddy, do you think, what are the odds? What if you're a gamble, blow that dice. What do you think the chances are that Diddy had a honeypot operation going for the CIA?
Yeah, there's a strong chance there, and it just shows how long the CIA has been working with and their former names before they became the Central Intelligence Agency. I think, what were they called before? The OSS, I think. Yeah. And essentially we're integrated with the whole Hollywood, propaganda machine, because, even as early as the First and Second World Wars, when movies were first rolling out, they were involved in getting Hollywood to create propaganda films, and continued. And so it just shows that relationship is deep. It's long-standing. Which really is a deep state operation. It's been running for 100 years, just about. But now I think what we've seen, though, is the degradation. Like, the people that were involved before may have had motives in the right direction. Hey, we got to defeat communism. We got to defeat fascism. We got to rally up support to destroy the Hitlers of the world, and sort of try and break through that U.S. non-interventionist mentality that was there in the 1930s and right up until the Pearl Harbor. But movies were used to drum up, to be literally hitting the drums of war to convince people this is a valid reason to go fight. And because we saw it, John Wayne in the 60s with the Green Berets, going into Vietnam, like that was hey, you need to support the war effort in Vietnam. We've seen that time and time again, and I don't think it's changed. But those Hollywood assets have been involved. We know it. They're in script writers. They are in the elite of the Hollywood actors and getting them under their control.
Yeah, in the 70s, the 60s, 70s, a thing called Operation Mockingbird. And yeah, there's that classic film. It used to be on YouTube. Last time I went looking for it, I had a hard time finding. I'm sure it's still there. But it basically, there's a select Senate, committee, subcommittee intelligence, and about the CIA's role in media. So sorry, and they go, are you now, or do you have currently assets in major newspapers across the U.S.? They go, yes, Senator, we do. And then he goes, do you have any assets at this time in television, on television networks? He goes, Senator, I believe this is something best pursued. You see a lawyer lean over the guy and start coaching him. And then the head of CBS goes, Senator, this is the kind of thing we should talk about in a closed session. We don't want the public knowing that. Yeah, of course, we're all over there. And, if you want to play guess, tinfoil hat time, different kind of people. John Cusack's name has come up as being involved. Chuck Barris famously, infamously, comedically cited, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, where he said he was approached by the CIA and that the game show guy, the Gong Show host, which makes it that much funnier, it's from the sublime to the ridiculous. Let's throw something stupid to throw everybody off on the set because it's so ridiculous that the more serious examples of this kind of use of people can be hidden or obfuscated because they're going to throw Barris out there. And what's interesting about that? George Clooney is in that film. How many movies has George Clooney done involving and or about the CIA? Yeah. I lose count. He's done a bag of them, like a lot of them. So George Clooney is kind of a guy, I think, it makes me kind of go, hey, because the CIA has often boasted that your mechanic, the girl doing your cashing out your groceries, they could be their assets. The idea is that we want to have people from all stratas, all aspects of life in our operation in order to get the mission done. Ostensibly security for the U.S., but we know since the Patriot Act and, steps beyond that. And holy shit, I mean, this thing with the liberals, so you heard about this one. Speaking about Patriot Acts, we got to talk about this a little later in the show. I guess they want to give the right. There's a new bill being put forward by the liberals so that they can look at our mail and peek in ostensibly to protect the country. So privacy, privacy rights for the citizen are going right out the door. It's like, something from China that you might expect.
Well, and I think the propaganda machine, I think the difference was when we talk historically how the intelligence networks work with Hollywood and creating the propaganda, but that was meant primarily to deal with external threats, not internal. And I think you hit the nail on the head. As soon as it became Homeland Security, Patriot Act, all guns turn inwardly, that's where we've seen everything from social control propaganda to, mind converting literally the culture into something else. Like they're molding it to a specific direction they want it to go. And so it's now being abused through mass psyops. I mean, that's essentially what happens. It's a psyop operation to convince people to think a certain way.
At least in Canada, the RCMP, our federal police force, the RCMP, Dale of the Mounted or what the hell, Dudley Do-Right, the Mounties in Canada are basically our version of the FBI. And those guys came out with a report and said during the sickness, we don't mention it on YouTube, through stringent guideline principles, that, when everybody got sick, a few years back, the RCMP said, we were basically doing experiments on the general population and just seeing what we could do. So these psyops, I mean, they went out and in their own declassified documentation that they were experimenting on the Canadian population. They went and tracked, 80,000 cell phones or smartphones in Canada?
Way more than that.
Was it more than that? Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like a large number of cell phones were compromised and had the government. 80%. That's where my 80 figure comes from, 80%. This is a big story. The breaking today as well. We'll cover this. Might as well hop over this. Any further thoughts just on that? I know George Clooney, I mentioned. You almost want to say Ben Affleck and his sidekick, because Matt Damon did the CIA trilogy, did an incredible job of it. The Bourne series, great job. But then you got Affleck did the one where the 72 crisis, whatever the hell that was, 79.
Oh, that was the Israeli assassin, Olympic shooting.
Iranian, and they got him out and all that sort of thing. Taylor.
70. Yeah, that's right.
Taylor. He did this. I forget what the hell they call it.
The Canadian ambassadors who saved all the Americans. Snuck them out of Iran. That's right.
But the CIA was heavily involved, and that's the whole point of that show. The CIA, right? Okay. So anyway, there's a few of them in Hollywood. I think that I tend to go, they do a lot of these CIA type stuff.
Well, I think anybody, if you haven't seen the movie before, Wag the Dog with Robert De Niro in it, and just watch it, and then remember what happened literally weeks later after that movie was in the theaters. It was almost like a movie that foretold what Clinton was going to do in former Yugoslavia, and it was what they used, but again, how Hollywood was used to create a propaganda machine to convince to do airstrikes and begin a war machine up against the Albanians in the movie, but was really about the Serbians in former Yugoslavia. So anyway, just watch the movie. It just blows me away because it does highlight how bad it can be with that kind of interference inside or influence inside of the Hollywood.
And another one is, and again, George Clooney's in this film, and it's called The Men Who Stare at Goats, about the CIA. And again, it takes it from the sublime to the ridiculous. Men Who Stare at Goats. So people go, this is just nonsensical. And the idea, I think, there is to disregard. There's nothing to see here. Don't take it seriously. The Men Who Stare at Goats. Biden's favorite DEI hire, Karine Jean-Pierre, the last press secretary under the Biden regime, we had to suffer with her for 4 years, just bailed on Joe with a new tell-all, and she's left. She has left the Democrat Party. So can you bring up? Oh, she's already ahead of me. She's the best of business.
The guns are turning inwardly there.
Well, this is the title, right? DNC trouble, like rats leaving a sinking ship. This is from the Associated Press. Ex-White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has left the Democrat Party. Publisher of book says she got a new book, Independent, a look inside a broken White House outside the party lines. Karine Jean-Pierre, and of course she's propaganda. Trump's evil and the usual bullshit. But by the same token, she knows that the Dems are in massive trouble right now, and they've just had a couple of Congress people cross the floor. They may have been senators, I'm not sure, but they've left the Democrat Party and they've joined the Republicans. This is hilarious. It's just getting crazy. Now, hold up. Listen here, Loki. I feel like I'm staring at two goats right now. Yeah, you are. You're looking at the greatest of all time. You're and not he goes, not capitalized. Okay, we know it, Loki. He's covered his bases. Right? We love you, Loki. Now, Loki, this could be a very rough show for you, so proceed very cautiously. We love you, little Loki. Holy smokes. Okay, so what do you think about this? She's left the party. What did she know? And how come she was telling us that he's sharp as a tack? What, is this not true now?
Yeah. Well, we know that they've been hiding Biden's health the whole entire time, right from 2020 onwards. There was problems. But you watch her and Peppermint Patty before that. They essentially, you could tell when people are lying. If you're a face reader, I very much read people's body language. You can tell where they're completely knowingly lying. And
okay, I don't believe you. I'm challenging right now. Let's go big to this. Let's jump right. I think that Karine Pierre person was the greatest press secretary of all time that there ever was.
Body language? assessment.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, you watch her. She would be, knowingly lie. What's his name? Peter Ducey. I think he had her on the ropes every single time. And you almost felt sorry for her. It's like the poor girl. Just know what? She's just doing her job, lying for the administration. And who was the administration? I think that would have been a really good question to ask. Who is in charge? Because Biden's clearly not well.
Well, Trump just calls him AutoPen now. He just calls him AutoPen. You hear a little bit AutoPen?
Maybe it was ruled by AI.
It's just crazy. Okay, that's really interesting. Dave, the pickup artist. I see a subpoena in her future. I do as well, Dave. I think, the wheels of justice turn very slowly. And, there's a lot of opposition to Trump within his cabinet, outside the cabinet, obviously within the Democrat Party. So there's a lot of opposition. But having said that, there's still some great people doing good work. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that we finally see some real justice come to these stories where, some of it's being pulled back. We just learned, we were talking about yesterday, where the FBI had secret files in the Sentinel system that you couldn't go search and just look for somebody and find them. Now, we knew this years ago.
Even their own officers.
Yeah. Even their own officers couldn't dig and find it. It was privileged. They buried it, right? It was designed so Trump couldn't find it. But thank God, praise God, they are actually getting a hold of these things and they're finding them. They're getting into rooms and going, what have we got here? We got to dig through this. And it's painstaking. They want to do it right. They don't want to just release to everybody. And I know everybody's going on our team, where are the arrests? Lock her up kind of thing.
Yeah, we're still waiting for, speaking of which, the Hillary servers and the smashing of the phones and all that stuff, the hiding all the emails. Yeah. But you could guarantee the evidence is somewhere. Yeah. Somewhere somebody's got it. So
the internet's forever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay, this is a good one here. Now let's stick with the American story right now. Let's go look at some fungus. Do you like fungus, Blake? Fungus has many uses.
Certain mushrooms too are really good.
Yeah, it's medicinal purposes only. So Kash Patel is out talking about fungus of all things. This came across the X platform, Kash Patel, and I thought it was interesting. I said, what? And then I saw that it was Patel putting out, and then I went, oh, wow, immediate credibility, right? It's the official statement from the government. Here we go, the FBI director. New, I can confirm the FBI arrested a Chinese national within the U.S. who, quote, there's our word, allegedly smuggled a dangerous biological pathogen into the country. My golly. The individual, Yang Qingqian, is alleged to have smuggled a dangerous fungus called Fusarium graminearum, which is an agro-terrorism agent into the U.S., to research at the University of Michigan, where she works. The fungus can cause a disease called head blight. You don't want to have head blight. A disease of wheat, barley, maize, and rice, causing significant health issues, humans' livestock. Okay, so Sue will drop the full link in there. The point is, this isn't made up stuff. It comes in, but there's more to this story. Sue's got a lot on that, and I know she's in her beautiful disembodied self here. But the kind of the follow-up on this story is very interesting, what people are talking about. Some of the counter arguments like, oh, this is readily available, but then somebody else goes.
Yeah, there's lots of, I checked the comments in that story or whatever. This fungus is readily available for research in America. They could have found the fungus in America. They don't need to smuggle it in. So the question is, were they smuggling in a stronger variant? Because if they bring in a stronger variant, they can alter what's happening with their research and make this fungus more aggressive.
Yeah.
So,
in other words, in the term we love to use, I don't think YouTube's banned this one yet. Gain of function, kids. We're talking gain of function.
So here's the thing: if it's readily available, why smuggle it?
Why smuggle?
So it shows that they don't want to trace the product that they've brought to the table, and they don't want to be accountable for what they're doing with it.
Well, let's take a 4D chess move on this one. So it's either tinfoil hat or looking a little bit further behind the conspiracy
While keeping
So-
in mind YouTube's stringent policy guidelines.
Yeah, we're speaking in good fun here.
Yeah,
So,
that's very giggle.
but it's essentially, if you think about it, so if he was caught trying to bring this pathogen, or let's say genetically altered,
It was a
fungus,
lady
potentially
scientist.
that could do damage to the crops and livestock in North America, who would gain from that? The Chinese. Yeah, if you're thinking about doing damage to the economy, that would make sense. But the fact that he was caught, it's good to know that there's James Bond-like characters out there with a white hat that's stopping this.
Yeah.
But I would argue that it could have come from home. And just so if you think of it at a 4D position, who's always in the food production monopoly? Genetically modified seeds.
Don't mention that guy. Not Bill.
No. It
Okay.
could be. No, I was thinking of Monsanto, who has a long history of genetically modifying foods to create patents so that it not only becomes a dependency side for farmers and producers of food, but essentially it also destroys wild, or let's say heritage seed production next door. So you could point to China, but you could also point to, well, maybe there's a corporate agenda behind here too. And Monsanto is pointed part of that New World Order group, that WF type company that works to monopolize food production. So they could be the saviors of this new thing that comes out, but it has to be a Monsanto. And I'd say allegedly about Monsanto, because I don't want Monsanto. Apparently they sue everybody and their dog.
We're just young people having a giggle.
Fun.
But let's just say this, RFK Jr., if you're listening, maybe knock on Monsanto's door and have a look.
I just have a look. I talked to him. What's going on?
Speaking of RFK.
Okay, so Alan here, who's Phillian man, goes, nobody smuggles through illegal means and lies to get it. The school is responsible for importing such fungi for research. Smuggle implies untraceable intent and unaccountability. You don't smuggle that which is readily obtainable by just walking in the little beautiful Nanaimo River there. You probably got some fungi right there.
I'm going to give you guys another article.
Okay, there's another one coming. Boy, Susie, you're laying them down, you're knocking them up. She's lining them up, knocking them up. Ladies and gentlemen, while Sue hunts down another article, make sure you're giving us a thumbs up. Make sure you put a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. It helps us. We're growing. Look at how young and eager we are. We're just keeping them going. And we have so much fun. We do this Monday to Friday. Wednesday, we come in at 3 o'clock. The rest of the days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we're all in at 12 noon, all times Pacific, because we're out in the West Coast. And we have such a good time covering stories in the U.S., Canada, England, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, wherever it is, that garners our attention. We're there. We travel. We're angels fear to tread, and we have a heck of a fun time doing it. So thanks, everybody, for the support. Here's another headline. Let's see what we got here. RFK Jr. promises to stop the World Economic Forum. Well, bold talk.
Yay. You'd think every liberal would be cheering for that.
Well, we don't know about that because don't they love the World Economic Forum? But we'll find out. What's he going to do? Their scheme, which they call the Great Reset, will drain whatever's left in your bank account and strip mine the beleaguered middle class of its remaining equity. During something happened. Anyway, check that out, kids, and get the full story. But obviously, RFK Jr.'s got some issues there, right? Now, Monsanto, I thought that was just one of those made-up Neil Young words. Well, Neil's very active, isn't he? We love Neil. Old man, look at my
life.
Yeah,
I'm a lot like you were.
All right. I mean, fast and furious. So we got Greta Thunberg. We got a Chinese fungi coming in. Karine Jean-Pierre leaving the Democrat Party. That's a big story right there that we covered. We covered Mike Myers requesting CIA tour of the facility. That's just nonsense. I mean, I could see him asking, hey, any chance we could get behind scenes to see Wally World? That I would understand. But this whole idea of going to see the CIA, who the fuck asked for that? Okay, let's go on now. What have we got here? So, okay, let's go to Canada. Let's start our chance. This is, these politicians, they always show Canada and they go, oh, it's 1972, it's Henderson. He scores, Canada defeats Russia, Canada, Soviets are defeated.
So do you want
with Foster here? I'm going to go 6-shot in Toronto. Boom. So, this is the new Canada. That old Canada is dead. Snowshoes and duck hunting and sportsman cigarettes.
And Dudley Do Right.
Dudley, all that, the Great White North, all that's dead. Here's the new Canada. 6 people have been transported to hospital after Toronto shooting, paramedics say. Apparently 5 were killed and 1 was injured in that.
Oh, other way around. 1 was killed, 5 were injured.
1 killed, 5 injured. They never shoot that well. They just spray and pray. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that story too. Remember the Chinese seeds they randomly mailed to people in the U.S. They were wondering what the hell's going on with that. But there are.
What were they? What were they in the end?
I believe they were beanstalks, Blake.
I was thinking Mexican jumping beans so they can get over the river.
Holy smokes. Yeah, they're just boing. Okay. Blake, you had a big story. Let's cover the big story. The big story is we had the Ukraine attacking Russia very successfully because of treaty obligation that was signed in 2010 with Obama. Russia and America both have to have their strategic bombing force out on the tarmac. You can't put them in hangars so that there's accountability by satellite confirmation at any given moment. And I believe there's tracking devices on all of the enemy planes so that both countries can know at any given time where in the world these planes are. It appears that Zelensky took advantage of this treaty doctrine and put the hurt in a big way on Russia, taking out about 1/5 of their nuclear capability with a brilliant, by all accounts, a brilliant drone strike. But thoughts on this, and you've got some follow-up talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, we could take a broader discussion on this, but specifically, there's new information. They're actually saying they don't know how many of the planes were actually destroyed. If it's 10 planes or 100 planes or 1/3 or 1/10, it's still the fog of war is covering this one considerably, just how many planes were hit.
Yeah.
But I think the fact is that people are putting 2 and 2 together, that you had, our Lindsey Graham, and I think who was the other senator there? It was a Blumenthal.
Yeah, Blumenthal.
So they were both there. And let's face it, Lindsey Graham has been a cheerleader to let's destroy Russia. He's been pushing this the entire time. And I don't know, was it a fluke that it just happened to happen right after he met with them? And literally a day. We're not talking weeks after or months after. Literally, he was just there and it happens. And so, this guy's got an inside edge on explaining the politics of the U.S. system. So he knows how things react. He can help control the messaging. And I don't know. That guy is a loose cannon. I hope the MAGA crowd, find a way to get rid of that guy. He has been
he needs to
cancer.
Be primary. Yeah, he needs to be primary. He's got to go. He's under scrutiny, though, and a lot of information is coming out. This is one of the stories following on the heels of this appearance there. I love the picture this guy chose from C3. Don't worry, Lindsey Graham's $411,634 hotel bill in the Ukraine was approved by Lindsey Graham. Yeah. Nothing to see here, folks. So he goes over there, and in there, we've got the receipt, I guess, what they did. And Sue will just drop a link. You can go look at that yourself. But this moron, basically self-serving, it is absolutely unbelievable. So grotesque hotel bill for a couple of day visit over there. So obviously, a hotel didn't cost that much money. Where did the rest of the money go? Who pocketed that? That
Yeah.
needs to be doged. I want that fucker brought up. Let's see what's going on there.
Maybe he's in a secret life, like Nicolas Cage in the Dogs of War.
That was a good movie. Actually, I like that movie.
But where this heads, I think, in a broader discussion of what this really means, is I was listening to a really good discussion last night on Glenn Beck. For those that watch Glenn Beck, you may have seen it, but they were just talking about how this drone attack changed everything in how they understand conventional warfare is where it's moving, and how a lot of what we understand today as part of our military infrastructure to defend ourselves is now been made obsolete in a lot of ways. Now we understand that, the nuclear treaty, you need to show your planes out. If they had been in a bunker, highly unlikely the drones would have been able to get in there. But it opens the door, because your Navy, for example, it's not able to go underground unless it's a submarine underwater. But you can have underwater drones too, and that's the thing. They can be made to be underwater. So for relatively cheap, you can have mass scale attacks. Not only a country, but it now shows the vulnerabilities, to your military, but even to your civilian, from terrorists who could use mass drone attacks on civilians in cities or wherever they were going to do it. I think of the movie Black Sunday, where they could go into a football stadium. I'm dating myself. That was in 1975 or 6. And I think it had what's his name? Stern.
Howard Stern is
not Howard Stern. Bruce Stern. Bruce Stern.
We love Bruce Stern.
Playing the psycho, wanted to blow it all up.
You're not gonna hang me today, Governor. Okay, we just
right.
Bruce Stern. Okay, keep going.
Except I remember being the bad guy. He's the only guy ever in the history of Westerns to actually kill. Outside of John Wayne's last show, but he shot and killed John Wayne.
That's horrible. Don't do that.
Which was shame.
Was that regret?
But that was the Cowboys.
The Cowboys, the movie.
The Cowboy, all the kid Cowboys that went on the run. Anyways, it was a good movie. But essentially, but if you think about it, that's what they're talking about today. Is that now this drone warfare? Because drones aren't what you just saw attacking those planes, but drones can be made at all different sizes. So, they're talking nanotechnology that could be controlled at this level. So we're now having to think, like, the Golden Dome may stop missiles, but will a Golden Dome protect us from this kind of attack? So your forces could be mustered out there with your subs, your ships, everything from aircraft carriers, destroyers, battleships, et cetera, even your missiles. I mean, they could hide drones in the forest nearby where you're about to launch your nuclear counterstrike. They could be firing at you. Well, guess what? Those missiles could all be taken out just as they're trying to exit through their silos. So it changes everything on that dimension of warfare, that these micro technology in warfare. And now with AI programming these, they could start to think for themselves. Now we're talking about, I don't know if anybody in the chat has ever seen the movie Dark Star. I mean, what a hilarious B movie from the 70s.
Is that the one with Rick Moranis? Is so funny, he's got a big helmet.
No, not Spaceballs.
Oh,
but it was kind of a dark humor. But essentially, the movie is about a AI-enabled, self-thinking bomb, and the bomb the bomb decided it was going to go destruct, and the crew was trying to convince it to live. You don't need to blow yourself up, because it was in the ship. It's going, no, but I have to blow myself up. So it was kind of like a HAL type character from 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
But it was a bomb that's self-thinking and is trying to determine, should it kill itself or not. And on the ship, it starts to count down. And these guys are desperately trying to convince it not to do it. I think it was either what's his name from Star Wars? I'm sorry, mine's going blank. George Lucas. I think it might have been George Lucas or I think it was one of his first movies. Yeah. But if you look it up, watch Dark Star. It's a tough watch because the acting sucks, but it is kind of humorous that they're having this discussion with a thinking bomb. But essentially, that's the change that they were talking about yesterday, that military warfare has now changed essentially forever. And what also the Ukrainians did, which was kind of unique, that other governments who do these kinds of secret attacks don't brag about it. But here we have Zelensky and the Ukrainian authorities saying, yeah, we did it. Woohoo, we did it. And yet when you think about the Israelis with the pagers, I think on the
Hamas, yeah.
Was it Hamas or I thought it was Hezbollah?
It was Hezbollah, yeah.
Hezbollah. Yeah, or even the Nord Stream pipeline, right? Nobody to this day is admitting who actually did it, even though it's wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I think everybody kind of knows he did it. But the fact is nobody's bragging about it. But here they're bragging about it. So
we're having a lot of fun, Loki. We're just here for a good time, man. Not a long time. You know, so have a good time. Sun can't shine every day, buddy. Don't worry about it. Relax. Here's an interesting thing we've seen over the history. Warfare is constantly evolving. World War II aviation evolving. From World War I, the biplanes get a plane. They go flying over. They're shooting at each other, little pistols. Then they mount guns on. Then they're shooting their own propellers off. They got to synchronize the propeller. Then they get that. Then monoplanes come in. Bigger planes, faster planes, bombs come in, guns, rockets, air-to-air missiles. It's constantly evolving. Remember Billy Mitchell, the American general, was court-martialed because he says battleships, the darling of the U.S. Navy, were obsolete by air power. And he proved to be prophetic, not pathetic, but prophetic, and absolutely right on. With his estimation that air power would take it out. And he did a demonstration where they brought out an old dreadnought and they blew the hell out of it. The U.S. fighter bombers came in flying over biplanes and just sunk the thing. And nobody thought this could even be done. So that evolved. Then we got in World War II. Then it was the carrier battle. So then the carrier doctrine. We're going to have islands at sea with air power. We'll move them anywhere we want in the world with our big task force surrounded by a barrier of destroyers. And now we find that these large floating platforms are obsolete too. Yeah. Because for the very reasons that you're citing, that technology is leapfrogging over them. And now, if we've learned anything from the Ukraine-Russia conflict, it's how conventional weapons, these great tanks, high-end tanks, Challenger tanks, Abrams, M1 Abrams, and the tanks like these are actually getting, their asses handed to them by drones that are just flying, ad hoc over the battlefield.
Well, they have missiles now that fly at Mach 18. I mean, how do you defend against a missile moving that speed, right? I think the Russians used it as a demonstration of force without putting warheads in them, but just have them crashing into the ground. And I don't know if you ever saw that video. It's just amazing. It's just like, foop, 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 foop. It's just like the whole sky opened up and they came so quickly, showing that they have that technology. But if they have it, the U.S. has it and other nations have it. But yeah, it's true. So does warfare eventually, and here would be more a philosophical side to it, but does it get to the point where technology expands so quickly that AI learns to cancel itself out, in these machines? Like, you're always going to have a counterbalance to defeat the other one, and they're going to constantly go back and forth until it's obsolete. I mean, you can't kill each other. You're back to, okay, well, I'm going to go hit you with a stick.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the AI. We're on the dawn of this new age, and we'll see where all this goes and how this is all going to play itself out. But I think it's absolutely fascinating, the capability, not only the capability of the AI, but the robots. The anthropomorphic robots. So at the end of they're walking around, they're jumping around, and they're doing things and having sex and all the rest of it. Here's Zelensky with probably the most comedic, unintentionally comedic moment of the past week. Here he is. Breaking: Zelensky just proposed a ceasefire days after the Ukraine's major drone offense against Russia and his meeting with Lindsey Graham. Putin told Trump today that Russia must retaliate against Ukraine's military strikes. Yeah. So it's like 9/11. America gets punched, right? Boom. And then America goes, okay, that's pretty good. I got a bleeding lip here. You punched me. You done good. And so Russia's the same thing. There's no way Ukraine is winning this war by this attack. It amounts to Russia going, okay, yeah, you drew blood. Pretty good punch there, Ukraine. But Russia's going to retaliate, and that's going to be problematic, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you punch your big brother, and then he comes running after you, and then you're terrified, and you're like, Uncle.
Okay, well, this is a topic was best taken up in my other channel, the Rachel's Ghost TV show, where we talk about music and records and stuff. It's a beautiful question. I just love it, Loki, but we'll cover it over here. Right now, we're hitting hard with some political shenanigans, all the activity that's going on. It's absolutely crazy out there. We also this is going to bring some tears of joy to our liberal heroes. Can you do Elon's big, beautiful bill? Elon Musk raising the ire of the president. The left like to say, oh, you're all in a cult and Trump could do no wrong. The point is that there's still room for criticism. And what Trump's calling, he's between a rock and a hard place with this thing. There's still a lot of good in it. But Elon Musk is correct, in my opinion, in calling out, at least going, this is pork. This is fat for you Republicans to feed your own corrupt selves. And with individuals like Lindsey Graham in that party, there's no surprise that this kind of corruption, this kind of self-serving aggrandizement is part of this bill. But Elon, not mixing words, as he says it, he puts the big, beautiful bill ain't so beautiful, according to Elon. Just more bloated mega bill slop. Some congressmen and women have openly admitted to not reading fully. It should die an ugly death in favor of smaller individual bills. Elon Musk, quote, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Love the passion, love the fire. I mean, this is a guy, that worked hard with Doge, that suffered the slings and arrows of critics, all around. He's got Teslas are blowing up all over the place. Loki allegedly is blowing up a couple himself. Allegedly, we don't know the full story of that, Loki, but we're researching it.
Little toy one.
Yeah. So, what do you think about Elon's comments? Helpful, counterproductive?
I think he's just told everybody the fact that the United States is not a dictatorship, and all these liberals that are going after Trump, calling him a dictator, he's going to turn everything into Nazi Germany, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Well, he just shown he's not actually the power. He has power to veto. He could do that, and he did. He's been going back and forth with these guys. But the real problem that I think he's talking about is that Congress is still the problem. They just went in and did a Doge that only really got a fraction of the work done, that still exposed billions, if not trillions, of expenses that were false.
Yeah.
And here they are, the uniparty, as we like to call them, the uniparty candidates that just want to continue to bloat themselves up, create cash for their buddies and pals. Nothing changes. Wasteful spending, bureaucratic expansionism, and that's really what these guys do, because it's I think that's what he's calling them out. He was on the inside. Let's remember that. I don't think he's against Trump. I think the media is still trying to hype that up. He just knows Trump's arms are tied to what the Senate and the House does. So, Mike Lee, you better get your ass in order and get in there and say, I'm not going to allow this to go forward. We need to start carving these bills up for what they are, as pork barrel spending. I'd love to see that happen in Canada if we could get the same kind of Doge effect here. But yeah, you've got something on the move. I understand there's only some limitations. You can't cut everything all at once because it may cause a significant drop in the economy. So you have to have some spending to get the economy rolling again and moving forward in the right direction. But you got to get rid of the bad spending. And I think that's kind of the point. I think he's probably going, listen, I just saved America crap loads of money just on the little bit we went into. And here are these guys going to go spend it somewhere else. Right. And 25%, he's right. 25% of every dollar being produced right now, being printed, because that's what it is. It's printing money, is being paid to service that amount of money in debt payments. So he's right. But yeah, I don't think he's having a spat with Trump. I think in some ways he's helping Trump be able to go after the congressional side of the party, right? Because there's only so much he can do. But yeah, there it proves Trump is not the guy 100% in charge. He can't. Those guys pass the laws. Those guys approve spending bills. They're the ones that are at fault.
Yeah, it's a very difficult path he has to walk. He's got to work with the Republicans in the House and the Senate in order to get anything done. Another headline here coming out. This is rather interesting. This is from British Patriot. We love him.
Well, speaking of money not being put in the right places.
Money going where different areas. Breaking. The Hungarian government have revealed they will be releasing a documentary exposing the U.S. aid scandal. The film will highlight how millions of dollars have been directed towards supporting left-wing political movements in Hungary. The Democrats are finished, and they are having a lot of trouble. These poor Dems these days.
Yeah.
And then we got a follow up on this, and let's take a look here. This will be huge. Viktor Orban on Kossuth Radio. A huge scandal is unfolding. America taxpayer money was spent by the liberal global elite to finance their ideological goals worldwide. Those receiving USA funds included in Hungary were also on George Soros's payroll. And I assume is he speaking in English in this interview, or is he doing it in his native Hungarian?
I'm not sure.
But you can read the thing. What I do is I let the kids go take a look at that on their own recognizance. We like to do that for them. But take a look at that. Nice to see. It'll be interesting to see what's coming out of that.
Yeah.
Hard-hitting question from Loki Teo, one of our favorites. Rachel, which way would blank? It's not blank, it's Blake. It's not blank. Go down the plug hole. In New Zealand, it's like when you fly to the right, to left, to right, left. That's this horrible comment, and it makes no sense at all. Loki, horrible. Let's take a look. We got another story. I just dropped the link for you. So this reflects back on this Canadian, and we're talking about the Patriot Act 9/11, and we're seeing a similar thing happening in Canada with this proposed bill by Carney and friends. And I've dropped it. Now, I didn't give you the little title for it. You have got it. Are you that fast? Oh, my God, she's good. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a new bill to bring joy to all the Canadians' hearts. This concerned Canadian Wake Up Canada, this bill, C2. They always have these Canadian 2, C2. I don't know what it is guised in a context of Strong Borders Act, right? Keeps Trump happy, strong borders. But it provides this government with omnipresent power, even dystopian ability to covertly surveil all aspects of your personal life. An unprecedented rights violation. Do not trust them. The Carney Liberals just entered Bill C2, Strong Borders. The law allows them to seize and read your mail for up to 60 days without due process or compensation, and track your online data. So whatever you're doing online without a warrant. The Carney Liberal power grab has begun. And again, it's always under the auspices of for your good. We're doing it to help you, little friends. And ultimately, it's not that at all. It's a massive invasion of privacy. Of course, we don't have a constitution in Canada. We don't have that kind of protection. we've got a Bill of Rights. And my dad in the 1960s says it's not worth the paper it was written on. And he said that in the 1960s. They knew it was bogus then. Okay, this is really interesting. We're going to cover that story too shortly. Thank you, Sue. Okay, Blake, thoughts on that one? Patriot Act, this Bill C2, holding your mail, check it out, see what you're up to, making sure you're not doing harmful speech. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get back to the discussion of Fortress North America on this then, because I think he is starting to ally border policy with the U.S. Homeland Security border policy. We already know they've been using listening devices and collecting big data through NSA programs. We know that just because Snowden and who was on the inside has said they're doing this. He was part of it. So it's nothing new. This isn't, they already know they can listen to everything. The fact that you're on Facebook, they're listening. They listen through your phone. They listen through your computers. If you've got microphones, they listen to you even through your TVs, because it started off to serve advertising to you or to cater to what your interest levels are, to now that you've got massive data centers collecting intel at that level of everything about you. So it doesn't really matter. They know everything about you at this point. So there's nothing really you can hide unless you throw away all your technology and go off into the bush. They've got meters. They've got meters that track your hydro, so you're being tracked.
Yeah. Did you know, Blake, that virtually on the same day that the DARPA government systems check went down, that Facebook was created? The DARPA expired and Facebook was created. Basically, the infrastructure of DARPA, Facebook was a massive intel gathering operation. Yep. So everybody's on there playing Farmville. Got to get some more potatoes.
Voluntarily providing everything about themselves and who they associate with and what their political beliefs were and what their interests are in the world. So, Loki. What kind of music does he listen to?
Loki, he's a classical. He loves his classical, but he's a big fan of Justin Bieber. Surprisingly.
Oh, okay. I thought he was one of those European metal guys because we share something common there. But
you'll have no common ground with Loki. He is simply he loves boy bands, primarily Menudo, very popular. Yes, Menudo fan, but he's a good boy. But Sue, can you want to bring this next story up? This is a good one too.
But I just wanted to point something out. You don't have to. You're going to pull this up anyways. But I did put a link in there that kind of follows in the.
Do this. I want to hear this.
To what you're talking about the Bill C. Well, sorry, what was it? C2.
Bill C2.
I mean, there's so many bills. They come up and they change them. They drop off. They come back up. But they've been trying to do this. There's also the Harms Act, Bill C63. That's more terrifying to me, but this sounds interesting, lining up to what we've been talking about for a couple of weeks. Is Carney, and I heard some Americans talking about this today. Here comes the salmon. I heard Carney talking about this today, and some Americans talking about Carney, the fact that he is an asset manager, globalist banker, and that he is part of the group that's actually working with Trump behind the scenes. And I do believe that this is where it's heading. And then this story came out yesterday that big announcement that Trump was saying that was cooking with Canada. He had yet to say anything about it. And if everybody gets all wrapped up on the aluminum tariffs and all that, Canada is going to be left out of that. The problem is that there's global companies have been dumping steel into Canada, which then they ship from Canada to the U.S. That's going to go after that. But a big deal is going to be potentially announced, by the sounds of it, just before the G7 meeting coming up shortly. So I think Trump and Carney are going to have a big discussion on that, and it's going to be together. But that is the Toronto Sun headline last night.
Okay, let's go and see if we can get rid of Oceana Cruises or scroll up and we can see what the headline. Lilly. This is what's his first name? Brian Lilly. Yeah. A trade deal with Trump administration could be imminent, sources say. Deal before the G7 meeting in mid-June possible, according to people on both sides of the border. This would be an incredible development because of all the elbows up talk, the animosity. Let's get a picture of beautiful Donald Trump and, of course, little snake in the grass, Mark Carney. A deal between Ottawa and Washington before G7 in Kananaskis, Alberta, has led speculation in the ongoing trade saga. So could you put that link in there so people can follow up that?
And where that came from was that the U.S. ambassador to Canada was speaking at the Empire Club in Toronto, and essentially has tipped the people of Canada this deal is imminent. Like it's going to happen.
So what do you think the fallout's going to be from the elbows up crowd when suddenly Donald Trump and Carney are smiling and a guy, hey, great guy, love him, that sort of thing?
I think Canada's going to wake up to a rude awakening that the reality is that Canada is in a sense of receivership. He is like the manager that's been brought in to deal with a country that is numerically small, highly over in debt. And I think he is going to negotiate that deal where America is going to be leading the way. We are going to merge just like Kevin O'Leary wants. And what he's been saying, and he's got Trump's ear, is an economic union with the United States with that Fortress North America security perimeter. Why do you think they'd build Bill C-2? That is to ally with the U.S. policy. Things are going to start rolling out piece by piece. That's going to connect those dots to be a single unified security perimeter for North America.
Well, I don't like the government, America or Canada, just peeking in on my emails and mails and stuff. That's not great.
Yeah, well, if people use Gmail, they're listening to you. If you're on Hotmail, they're listening to you. I think there's a couple Proton Mail or a few of them out there you can get that claim that you're not being spied on. But as soon as you're in a service that says you're not being spied on, well, guess what? That's the one you're going to get spied on.
You're getting spied on. All right, Sue's got another one for us. Mocha Berzigan. A major drug bust, Canadians and Sings are making headlines in Australia. Okay, so this is from Canada to Australia. Australian federal police say 280 kilograms of liquid methamphetamine was imported from Vancouver. Way to go, you're getting a Pelosi clout, Vancouver. 7 people, including 2 Canadians, have been arrested, denied bail. Gurvinder Singh is named as the alleged ringleader. Gurvinder, you're doing fine work. You're doing God's work, Gurvinder. Obviously, spawned in Vancouver, and then they're working at trying to get this meth into Australia, and they got busted. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, and it shows that there's so many crime networks operating in Canada now. It's almost to the point of ridiculous. For us as a country to claim that, no, we're not that bad. It's really the largest fines hand out in the U.S. history to a bank for money laundering. Guess where? TD was named Toronto Dominion, which is TD Canada Trust.
They used to be my old bank. I got rid of them.
$3 billion fine, the highest ever to a bank for money laundering, drug money.
And this is like an official status. It's got all, it's a legitimate, quote, legitimate bank within Canada, highly regarded, commercials on television. You grow up with this brand, and now it turns out you're just not a bunch of overt crooks. And there's a difference between the backroom shady kind of dealing going on and this kind of stuff where you're money laundering with the drug cartels. It's just absolutely nuts. Rachel, it's very rude and disrespectful. Listen, my biggest fear about all these revelations about Canada being involved in a globalist shitfall is that you're just going to crap your little pants, Loki. You're going to need a big diaper pad, like a big Bam Bam, like on Pebbles gets on the Flintstones. It'll be a little bone holding your little rompers up, you son of a bitch. Okay? It's just fantastic. We love you, Loki. Thank you for bringing the heat to the program. Thank you, Paul. Breakfast King Loyola in the house. Holy smokes. Okay, what do we got here? Let's take a look. Okay. Oh, this is a big one. Air Canada They attempted to kick off Pride Month, June, they call it Pride Month, with a celebratory post about his first ever all 2SLGBTQIA plus flight. Backfired almost instantly, drawing a flood of critical. They got ratioed to hell and back. Air Canada has blocked replies on Pride flight posts after backlash. So how proud are you when you come out of your foxhole, you wave your little rainbow flag, and then you have to shut down the comments? I've never seen a retreat like this since I saw Paul escaping out of Loki's bathroom and jumping out the back window because of some alleged scandal activity.
I mean, this is Canada's version of the Bud Light fiasco. I mean, how stupid can you be? Stay neutral. If you're going to be a corporation, cater to everybody. Don't rise anybody's specific identity. Yeah. It's not about your skin or sexual identity. You're flying people to and from. Just sell that. That's all you need to do.
This is a very accurate comment about the absolute state of things. Canada has been frighteningly naive for too long, ripe for the picking. The crime and corruption is rampant. It is, and our judiciary is infiltrated and polluted basically every institution in Canada. From Tim Hortons to God, you name it, the Toronto Dominion Bank, from Tim Hortons to Toronto Dominion Bank to Mike Myers and Elbows Up with Diddy Fund. It's an absolute shit show. So, very interesting times that we find ourselves living in. So, really excited actually to see this thing coming. All eyes on Trump with this situation with the Canadian economy and our government with some sort of trade deal, because that really will be a kick in the teeth for people that are wanting Canada to stand up boldly and stridently against the American monolith to our south.
Well, Kevin O'Leary said it, and he was dead on. If Canada and the United States somehow merge in some form of economic union, it will be the most powerful economy on earth. And would put us leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else, from mineral rich to all the different resources. I think would be exciting.
I love Loki and Paul. They've got some great questions out in the peanut gallery. They go, Rach, what's your favorite surface for tennis? I got to go with the clay court. I just love it, despite Wimbledon, the beauty of Wimbledon. But there's nothing quite like playing on clay. The ball has a whole different physiology. The dynamics are completely different on clay court. A little trickier, I might add. Rachel, why did Milos Raonic, Canadian tennis superstar, never fulfill his potential? Because he was actually playing for Team Croatia. He just wore the flag. We only found out after the fact, allegedly. So unfortunately, it was a Croatian disaster. Harvatska, Zdom Spremni. Thank you. Okay. It's Wimbledon soon. Sue, is Rachel allowed strawberries and grapes to watch Wimbledon? No, I'm working out, man. New low weight today, Blake. I'm proud to announce I hit the 251, down from 309.
Wow. Congratulations.
I'm at the 251. It was today's marker. But boy, oh boy, still 251. That's a lot of weight to be carrying around. So, I got a long way to go. But, it's
it
still,
sounds like you're on the right track. Congratulations.
We're doing good stuff. Okay, Blake, we're at 4:12 here, so an hour 15 sort of thing. What do you got? Sue, you got another one?
I got more fun.
Okay, Sue's got a couple other ones to play.
Let's hang out.
So we just go till we're done here.
That is funny.
Okay. What's this all about? Elon Musk.
Bill.
Kill Bill. Yeah, Kill the Bill. I love it. What a great movie that is, by the way. We got that on Blu-ray, a beautiful Blu-ray edition. We don't have it in 4K. Of course, it's been reissued in 4K. But a soundtrack, I do own the soundtrack to it, and I also own a Blu-ray. Of course, Tarantino film, Kill Bill, volumes 1 and 2, originally put as one film broken down into two, but with the usual cast. Brian, how you doing, buddy? Congrats, Rachel 251. Yeah, we're getting there, Brian. We're slimming down, buddy. It's quite this.
Okay, maybe Blake can talk about this for a sec.
Yeah, okay. We got another one for you, Blake.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Sue's going to switch up the links. Gosh, the anticipation is just so exciting, Blake. We'll see what she's got.
Going on?
Is this one?
It's like Christmas.
It's Christmas for Blake. Mr. Sunshine Baby, big account. Breaking Liberal MP just confirmed that the confidence vote on the speech of the throne will occur this evening.
What does that mean?
Wow.
Confidence vote speech throne this evening. Are we going to challenge the Liberal government?
I can tell you right now, I doubt the NDP will support it, and they need the NDP to be 100% because they don't even have a leader elected yet. They'll let it survive. You watch.
Okay.
I own. I've got the Jethro Tull stand up. I got it on the CD deluxe edition of the Steve Wilson remix. Beautiful, great job. But I've also got an OG Canadian original. You open it up and folds out. I don't need Chad Kassem's special record, though I'm sure it sounds great and it's a lot of fun. But Stand Up's a great album. You open it up and the little characters, like, little kiddie book, the band pops up. Ian Anderson, the boys, I'll stand it up. A great album, by the way, Stand Up, Jethro Tull. Okay, any other stories in the pipeline for us to munch on here, Sid?
Yeah, maybe we could talk about something a little more local.
Okay, do it.
Please do.
We're all in. I'm in.
Yeah, if you can find a link and search it up. But we've got David Eby, who is not part of the whole Team Canada group.
No.
Ran off to Japan when the first ministers were all meeting to discuss expanding energy from coast to coast to coast with, and he is blocking it. He is saying he's not going to allow Alberta oil to the Pacific coast.
I saw that. Yeah. So he's a big lefty. And so the hope is that Alberta.
He's a globalist too.
Wow. Did you know that I saw a great graphic of the oil deposits in Canada and the United States? And to no one's surprise, the oil deposit runs right through the length and breadth of the province of Alberta. And do you know, Blake, that the actual shape of British Columbia, goes down and it kind of kicks out the province. It goes like that. And the oil just stays nicely on the Alberta side of the border. British Columbia doesn't dance with any of it. So it's quite remarkable. There's a link. Blake's just dropped one in.
And I put a thing for.
And Sue's got something here for us to.
It's interesting what they had posted because the picture shows British Columbia is just. I mean, we are mired in foreign influence from China. Eby is allegedly been named by Sam Cooper and apparently through the connections through CSIS as a compromised political leader. So it wasn't just MPs that were caught in the foreign influence scandal that's yet to be named. Not one person, but Sam Cooper has come out and named a lot of names. One of them is David Eby. And, but yeah, essentially what this guy talks out of his mouth that he's here, he's going to open up BC's energy, mining, all this stuff. He's going to move things forward. We're going to sell our goods all around the world. He's Mr. Anti-Trump big time.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's all buddy with China. And so I think Canada needs to make a decision. Is this guy a traitor to the country? Because he's the only one really standing up at this point saying we're not going to allow the rest of the country, specifically Alberta, to pump oil to the Pacific so we can ship it to other places. Apparently worth $50 or $60 billion a year if it could get to Asian ports of call to sell that oil that direction too. So we'll see. But anyway, if you look at that picture and that link that I just provided, the Conservative Party BC did put up a really good graphic showing exactly how BC looks, all orange. And when you talk about orange man bad in the U.S., we've got orange political party is bad.
Okay, now is it in the Abbotsford News one or it's the other one?
Oh, it's the last link in the shared in the private.
Okay, the last link in the private chat. Blake is not sleeping yet. We're still having a lot of fun, Loki. Thank you for the suggestion on looking after Blake
I see.
so
Okay.
nicely. All right.
Maybe Loki wants to join you here, Rachel. Might be a little bit, little jealousy there. Little jelly.
Okay, so holy crap, look at this. So now what's the deal? David Eby just told the rest of Canada he's not interested in jobs, energy security, economic growth, despite calls from Ontario, Doug Ford, of all people, and growing national momentum for a new pipeline on the West Coast. Eby says his mind is made up. No pipeline, no prosperity, no soup for you, Canada.
No jobs for BC.
No
this is bullshit. This guy is a globalist WF plant. I'm telling you that right now. The guy's got to go. He should be arrested on treason and get him out of here. Send him back. Treason. Yeah, no, he is. I'm not going to. He can come arrest me, Eby, because I would love to go to prison fighting your sorry ass, a big stork.
No, we just hold on. Full disclosure. Here, time for me to take this in. Hold on. Here on YouTube with its stringent guidelines, I have nothing but good things to say about the wonderful David Eby. He's fighting for all Canada and all Canadians, wherever they may be. He's a warm personality, a warm man. And we just thank him for everything he's doing and keeping Canada just so terribly proud. Happy Pride. Happy Pride, David. Thank you. That's a message from me of love.
Oh, boy. Where'd you go? I think you've disappeared there. Rachel.
Okay,
you're back.
I'm back.
Vanishing act.
Listen, you know what? I got so emotional. I had a little tissue. And just a little moment, just think about how wonderful David's been for all of us. That's pretty cute. Think of the look he wants to join. Rachel, he sure does. Thank you, Paul. And I know, Paul, you like to join too. Oh my God. Just Blake, what? We have I have a lot of friends out there in the vinyl community, folks, my other channel. And I'm very happy to see them make their way over here and have some fun with us here. Nice. But some good stories today. I mean, we covered a lot of ground. There's a lot of stuff happening. I know that at least a couple of Democrats have also crossed the floor. And there's a new poll out from CNN showing that the Republicans are ahead of the Democrats in terms of who their leaders are. By a large margin, like there's no, quote, leader standing up for you got Fang, and I think that's about it. And then the other category where they were leading by a lesser margin was who's the party of change. And remarkably, the left and the DNC, and, with people like, high profile Democrats like Corinne Perry, whatever her name is, the press secretary lady, with her leaving the party, what a message that is. The auto pen is under huge scrutiny. More is coming out about that. That story is not going away. And
rats are running away from the sinking ship.
Yeah, with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino in place. And, people are giving Pam Bondi a bit of a shakedown because, they aren't seeing the big name arrest. But I think a case is being built. And there's a lot of people that suggests that the wheels of justice are turning slowly, however slowly they may in fact turn. Matthew Petty, welcome to the show. We're glad to see you here, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate everybody being here. We're going to be back tomorrow with a shorter version. We try to keep it down to an hour, and we'll see you tomorrow. And make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. We do appreciate it.
And you can follow us on you're on X too now. It's now showing on X.
Blake doesn't want to go to prison. I have had it. This is horrible comment, Blake. Take care, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you, Blake, as always. Great show.
See y'all.
Bye for now.